Welcome everyone, Tactical Lich here. In the recent patches, the Ogre Kingdoms have been in a very strong position, with the ridiculous amount of healing, high mass units plying through enemy frontline bullying them, and then some of the most cost-efficient chaff infantry in the entire game, Noble Trappers. However, fighting them isn't exactly a hopeless battle just yet, because there are still tools to deal with the Ogre boys. In this battle, Rocket Roll will be using the Vampire Coast to wrestle for a spot to advance in the Ladies' Quest tournament against Coop's Ogre Kingdom's army. For his secret weapon, Rocket Roll will be employing 2 handgun gun bats on each side. These deck droppers with their armor-piercing fire can actually deal very cost-efficient damage even against the armored monstrous cavalry of the Ogre Kingdoms. And with the lack of air force for the Ogres, there is actually little threat to deal with these gun bats in the skies. The best they can try is probably just Lead Belchers and Noble Trappers, but they are not exactly the greatest choice to deal with gun bats either. For the rest of the army here, a very chaffy frontline there with zombie pirate gunnery mobs with pistols backed up by the polearm deckhand mobs. Further back, a sturdier backbone of the infantry with 2 death gods with polearms. They will be supported by Count Oculus coming in with Wraithstorm, the zombie deckhand summons, one of them his item with 2 uses, and then also Invocation of Nehek. In disguise, another unit of Felbats, probably a bit of extra funds that Rocket Roll decided to spend on extra air support. For the flanks, there's also some monstrous infantry in the form of animated hulks. Now for the Ogre Kingdom's army, we have a front line of Noble Trappers supported by a back line of Ogre Bulls, mixed in with some Ogre Bulls dual weapons variant. On each flank there is a single unit of Mornfang and a single unit of Saber-Tusk Pack. Same goes for the other side. The Lord choice would be the Slaughtermaster of the Great Maul Magic coming in with only Troll Guts. And that's it for the army builds. Now let's get the battle started. Now one thing to note is that today the Ogre Kingdoms did not bring any Lead Belchers or their Scrap Launcher Iron Blaster artillery, so the Vampire Coast right now, despite not having any Carronades, actually outrange the Ogres because the Noble Trappers only have 70 range, while the deck droppers with handguns have 130, almost double their range. Also, they have much higher speed, so they can easily outmaneuver the Nobler firepower. Now in the front line, the zombie gunnery pistol mobs will be trading against the Noble Trappers with 120 unit models and 300 gold cost. Actually, the pistol mobs are trading fairly well against the Noble Trappers, and in disguise there are some Felbats dropping in trying to silence some of the Noble Trappers, while the polearms deckhand mobs will be pushing forward trying to tie down the Ogre Bulls with their anti-large attacks. On the flanks there, already the Mornfang Cavalry and Saber-Tusk are engaging some of the animated hulks, but the animated hulks are unbreakable, so they would not be faltering, while the deck dropper handguns in the skies are popping shots onto the armored Mornfang Cavalry who do not have the Iron Fist missile block chance, so they're taking a lot of damage from all those handguns armor piercing missiles. Same goes for the other flank. Actually, not quite so, as the animated hulks are overwhelmed by not only the Saber-Tusk and Mornfang Cavalry, but also some of the Ogre Bulls with dual weapons. In the front line though, it seems that the Vampire Coast are holding okay, with Count Noctilus engaging some Ogre Bulls, doing some pretty good damage, but on the other flank there, the first of the Mornfang Cavalry has been routed by the concentrated fire from the deck droppers there, even reaching the white line. Nope, it seems that they just about recovered their leadership before they completely routed. But once again, another wave of hot lead has persuaded them to get out of the battlefield. Now for the overall battle here, it seems that the Ogre push is going on just fine. However, the Death Gods are here to hold the line, providing some very sturdy backbone to the Vampire Coast army, but the pistol mobs are not so lucky. Soon we'll get overrun by a horde of heavy, angry bellies. 2 units of Ogre Bulls with dual weapons, the Mornfang Cavalry who definitely received some healing, the Gorgers at the back, and Saber-Tusk Packs are crushing this poor little pistol mob. Still, the gun bats are firing into the blob and should be accumulating some good damage over time. There's a summon of pistol zombie mobs here, continue to trade against the Noble Trappers with their pistol fire, while the Saber Tusks are surging forward. Death Guards receiving an invocation of Nahak to hold the line, because they definitely need it now that all those Monfang, Ogre Bulls, and Gorgers are plowing into their formations, doing some pretty significant charge impact damage. But on this flank, it seems that things are rather secure for the Vampire Coast in the skies. The deck droppers are simply not harmed at all by any Noble Trapper, as they were busy pushing the middle section of the army here, while the deck droppers are continuously harassing the ogre armies on the flank. Now the ogre bulls will be making short work of the Vampire Coast infantry, but the thing is that they still can't do anything against the deck droppers. Sure, there are some Noble Trappers firing in, but it seems that they are targeting the zombie pirate deckhand mobs right now and not actually targeting the bats. Even if they do, actually, the bats can simply fly away and shoot at something else. And so the deck droppers are able to snipe out the Slaughtermaster, or at least get him to extremely low health, forcing him to use a Trogut on himself, but that still is not going to keep the Slaughtermaster from routing, and he will be pushed off for now, though the healing might just be enough to keep him in the game. Now on the far side, all the zombie deckhand mobs are faltering as they are receiving massive charge impact damage from all the ogres armies, but the Death Guards are still holding, albeit barely. Their leadership is dropping low, they're almost at their heal cap, but they will continue to fight on and dish out as much damage as possible. Count Nautilus has been fighting too, but he was mostly spending time on chaff and some random cheap ogre bulls, so not a lot of value on this legendary lord. The main spotlight of this battle are all these gun bats in the skies, just not facing too much resistance till now. The Noble Trappers, finally some of them are shooting at the deck droppers, or are they shooting at something else? It seems that they have their eyes on the Death Guards, and the rest of the deck droppers, despite taking some minor damage, they're still fighting strong and are continuing to focus fire on the Slaughtermaster, who has recovered some health. The Death Guards with pole arms should be able to hold out in this fight for quite a while, although they did receive a heavy charge from the Monfang cavalry. Being buffed up by Massacre will be doing some extra armor piercing damage. Now the Slaughtermaster, despite the Troguts pushing him almost to his heal cap, the accumulated damage from the handguns are now dropping him down to around half health. Although now that he has his Iron Fist facing forward, he is enjoying a little bit of that missile block chance from the Iron Fist. 30% of missile block chance plus 15% of the character missile resistance, that is almost half the damage reduced, although he is trying to run into the trees, exposing his flank and negating that block chance. Now on the far side, there is a mass exodus of ogre units, only the Unbreakable Gorgers are still holding the line. With the gunbats in pursuit, these units will soon be routing all the way towards the white line, which is rather close to where they are currently. The Nobblers in the middle are also running for their lives, and the balance of power is in the favor of Rocket Row. We'll be going into fast forward here as the battle is evolving into a bit of a slog. Coops has a lot of bodies on the field, but they are mostly in the form of Nobblers, which the gunbats are not the most efficient in dealing with. Still, they're only Nobblers and they don't actually have the power to change the course of battle. Instead of targeting the Nobblers, the gunbats are just picking off the most important units right now. There's still this one unit of Mornfang Cavalry receiving the Trogut, but they are now heavily focused down by the handgun bats in the skies, so they will be routed as well. Nautilus summons some zombies to pin down the Nobblers, so he himself can go and chase down the Slaughtermaster, but the Slaughtermaster is just a little bit too fast for him to catch. Still, that's not gonna be a big problem here because Count Nautilus, he's not suffering much from the Nobbler fire, while the Slaughtermaster, because of his much larger hitbox, is taking a lot of damage from the precision shots of the handgun droppers. Once the Ogre Lord goes down, Army Losses is hit, and Rocket Row and myself will be advancing into the next stage of the tournament. GG to both Coops and Rocket Row, and now let's have a quick look at the army performances. With the deck droppers, they're doing some amazing job against the Ogre Kingdoms. Basically uninterrupted the entire game, picked off a lot of the Ogre Kingdom's key units, the Monfang Cavalry, the Slaughtermaster, just doing some very solid damage overall, and the Noble Trappers being a unit with limited speed and range. Yes, they can do some good damage against any of the deck droppers if they get close enough, but then their limited speed and range means that they are more of a reactive force and cannot actively hunt down the deck droppers. For the rest of the Vampire Coast army, the Death Guards did really well overall, since the lack of lead belchers forces the Ogre Kingdoms to deal with them in melee, and in melee combat, Death Guards with their hunger healing themselves are an absolute solid unit. The animated hulks did some very minor damage, but mostly as a unit with high mass to pin down enemy cavalry, allowing the deck droppers to shoot down the Mournfangs, while the zombie chaff didn't really do much damage overall here, just there to act as body to absorb enemy charges and drag down enemy units, while the zombie pirate pistol mobs had a little bit of firepower to trade against the nobler trappers, but being tied down in melee means that they're just getting slaughtered by the ogre bulls. Count Noctilus did some minor damage, mostly there to just act as a tanky footlord to hold back the Ogre Kingdoms. On the other side, the Ogre Kingdoms did really minimal damage with the Mournfang Cavalry. The Gorgers actually almost paid for themselves, but unfortunately here with the Ogre Bulls unable to carry their own weight mostly, and also the Nobblers not doing too much damage here. Some of them earned back their cost, but that's about it. Just not able to deal with the Air Force of Vampire Coast. A very nice pick from Rocket Row here, using the Air Force to weaken the Ogre Kingdom's army, securing his victory against one of the top factions in the meta right now. That's it for today's battle. I hope you all enjoy it, and if you want to see more Total War Warhammer action, be sure to subscribe to the channel and keep an eye out for new video uploads. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tactical Lich, signing out.